The echoing screams, trapped in the haunted hollow. The town of Blackwood had many whispered legends, but none as chilling as the story of the haunted hollow. A dense, gnarled forest on the outskirts. It was said to trap those who dared enter after nightfall. The trees stood like twisted sentinels, their roots clawing at the earth, and an eerie mist always hung low, swirling as if alive. Emma, Jake, and Liam, three friends who relished urban legends, decided to test their courage on Halloween night. Armed with flashlights, they ventured into the hollow, daring each other deeper with nervous laughs. The further they walked, the heavier the air became. The silence of the forest was unnerving, save for the occasional rustle of unseen creatures. "We should have left breadcrumbs or something," Liam muttered, glancing over his shoulder. "Feels like we're walking in circles." Jake scoffed. "Don't be paranoid. It's just a forest." Emma, always the skeptic, tightened her grip on the flashlight. "Legends are just that, stories to scare kids. Let's keep moving." They pressed on until they reached a clearing. In the center stood an abandoned cabin, its wooden walls warped with age. The door creaked as Jake nudged it open. A musty smell of decay and dampness met them, making Liam gag. Inside, cobwebs draped every corner, and a decrepit rocking chair swayed slightly, though there was no wind. Emma ran her fingers over a dusty wooden table, uncovering strange markings. "What are these symbols?" Liam shone his flashlight over the carvings. "They look like warnings, or a spell." A sudden shriek echoed through the trees, chilling them to the bone. The sound wasn't human, it was guttural, filled with agony, as if 100 voices were screaming at once. Their flashlights flickered, and the air thickened with the scent of burnt flesh. "We need to leave. Now!" Emma's voice wavered, her bravado crumbling. Jake stepped backward, knocking over a rusted lantern. The clatter seemed deafening in the stillness. Then, another scream rang out, closer this time. It seemed to come from all around them, bouncing off the trees, reverberating inside their heads. Panic gripped them as they bolted from the cabin, their feet pounding against the uneven ground. The mist thickened, snaking around their ankles, slowing them down. The more they ran, the more the forest seemed to shift, distorting like a nightmare. "I swear we came from this way," Liam gasped, but the path they remembered was gone, replaced by more looming trees. Then, the whispering started. Soft, unintelligible voices murmured from the shadows, growing louder until they became screams again. Shapes moved between the trees, dark, elongated figures, their hollow eyes glowing with a malevolent light. Emma tripped, falling hard against a tree root. Jake and Liam helped her up, but she winced, her ankle throbbed. "We have to keep going," Jake insisted, glancing warily at the shadows creeping closer. Liam turned in circles, shaking his head. "There's no way out." Suddenly, a figure stepped into the clearing ahead of them. Unlike the shadows, this one had formed a woman in tattered clothes, her long, matted hair covering her face. Her arms stretched unnaturally as she let out a wail that rattled the ground. Emma clamped her hands over her ears. The woman's scream felt like it was inside her skull, clawing at her sanity. Then, the woman pointed at them, and the forest responded. Roots shot up, tangling around their legs. The mist solidified, pressing against their chests, suffocating them. The shadows slithered closer, whispering in voices of the long dead. Liam struggled against the roots, but they tightened. "We're not getting out of here." Emma's mind raced. The symbols in the cabin, they had to mean something. The cabin, maybe there's something there to stop this. Jake hesitated before nodding. "It's our only shot." They wrenched themselves free and dashed back, the forest roaring in fury behind them. Bursting into the cabin, Emma scrambled to the table. Her hands trembled as she traced the symbols. "We have to complete it." Jake found a piece of charcoal and quickly filled in the gaps of the faded carvings. The moment he connected the last line, the cabin trembled. The shrieking outside escalated, then abruptly stopped. Silence. The mist receded, and the shadows melted into the trees. The woman's anguished form flickered before vanishing with a final, echoing scream. Gasping for breath, the three exchanged looks. The hollow was still eerie, but the air was lighter, the suffocating presence gone. "Let's get out of here," Liam said, his voice hoarse. This time, the path was clear. The moment they stepped out of the forest, the first rays of dawn broke through the sky. No one spoke as they walked back to town, but one thing was certain, they would never return to the haunted hollow. "You need to break whatever curse this is," she said. "These marks, they form a circle,